Have you ever felt so exhausted? After trying to keep everything together, you sit alone in your quiet room, staring at your phone for hours. You want to send a simple message, but your fingers refuse to move. Then suddenly you experience a complete breakdown. You might do something very shocking, like hitting your own face hard. If you saw someone do this, your first reaction would be shock. You would feel very confused indeed. You might think they are crazy, or maybe they want some attention. But inside the quiet counseling room, this behavior is actually quite common. It is not a dramatic show, nor is it a cry for attention. It is a desperate survival system, trying to save a drowning mind. These people are usually very gentle, and they always put others first. They do not want to cause trouble, so they hide their heavy pain. They look perfectly fine on the outside, until the inner wall completely breaks. Let us look at this painful moment with true compassion and deep understanding. Imagine you are dealing with deep stress, and you cannot find any relief. You have worked a very long day, smiling at colleagues you do not like. You come home feeling totally empty, with a very heavy social hangover. Suddenly, your brain begins to freeze, and the dark thoughts start rushing in. You feel a sudden wave of anger, but there is nowhere to put it. So you raise your own hand, and strike your cheek with force. This is not a sign of madness, but a sign of absolute exhaustion. Your system has simply run out of options. And this is the final cry. Let us dive deep into the mind, to see what is really happening. To understand this extreme emotional state, we can use a simple metaphor. Think of your mind as a house, with a very complex security system. Usually the security system works very quietly, protecting you from heavy everyday stress. But when you experience too much pain, the system goes on high alert. The alarms start ringing very loudly, and all the lights begin to flash. This is what we call emotional overload. It is like a major power surge in a very fragile electrical grid. When the grid gets too much power, the fuses will blow to prevent fire. Hitting yourself is like blowing a fuse. It is a fast physical reaction to prevent a total mental collapse. Let us look at another clear picture. Imagine your emotional energy is a battery. Normally, you have a clear battery gauge telling you when you need rest. But for many highly sensitive people, this battery has a silent leak. You do not know you are empty until you suddenly hit absolute zero. At that moment of total empty charge, the brain experiences a massive panic. The shame and anger become too heavy, and you cannot find any words. Your verbal brain completely shuts down, because the emotional center is screaming. You cannot say that you are hurting, and you cannot ask for help, so the body takes over the control, using a very primitive survival method. When you feel a physical sting, your brain releases chemical pain relievers. These helpful chemicals are called endorphins, and they act like natural medicine. They rush to the physical wound, and they temporarily calm the brain. For a very brief few seconds, the loud mental alarms stop ringing. It is not about enjoying the pain. It is about finding a tiny space to breathe inside the heavy storm. You are handing the keys of control back to your own physical body, because you feel you have lost all control over your external life. It feels like you are drowning, and the pain is a floating log. You grab it just to stay afloat, even if the wood has sharp thorns. We must understand this painful trade before we can offer real help. Think about how you live your life. You always try to please other people, giving away your precious mental energy. This is like giving the house keys to every stranger on the street. They walk into your quiet home, and they make a huge mess. You feel angry, but say nothing, because you hate any bad conflict, so you lock all the anger inside, until the walls cannot hold it. The anger must go somewhere eventually, so it turns back against you. Instead of shouting at other people, you choose to punish your body. This is the silent tragedy of goodness. You protect the feelings of others, while breaking your own fragile bones. Your inner mind becomes a battlefield, where you constantly fight against yourself. Every blow is a silent message that you cannot carry this alone. When you are under extreme stress, the emotional part of the brain, which is called the amygdala, takes complete control of your mind. The rational part of the brain, which helps you think and speak, simply loses all its electrical power. It is like a dark city during a very dark summer blackout. You cannot think of logical solutions, because your brain is in survival mode. The only language your brain understands is immediate and strong sensory input, a sudden and very loud noise, a sudden splash of cold water, or a very sharp physical sting. This is why physical pain works. It acts like a loud horn, waking up your sleeping rational brain. It tells the brain that danger is happening right here and now. It forces the brain to look away from all the invisible mental monsters and focus on the skin instead. It is a very crude tool, but it is the only tool that is left in your hand. Now let us look at some common myths about this very painful emotional behavior. Many people think that hurting yourself is just a way to get attention. They say you are acting like a child who wants everyone to look at them, but this is a very wrong belief that makes people feel deep shame. Most of the people who do this will hide their wounds very carefully. They wear long sleeves in the summer, and they cry in quiet dark rooms. They do not want you to see them. They feel embarrassed by their own actions. So this is not attention seeking, but a very deep silent scream. Another major myth we hear often is that you are simply too sensitive. Society tells us that being highly sensitive is a very weak human trait. They tell you to just grow up and stop taking things so seriously. But sensitivity is actually a special gift that allows you to feel deeply. It becomes a painful burden only when you do not have emotional support. Let us talk about a deeper mechanism, which psychologists call chronic mental dissociation. To understand dissociation is very important. When a small child grows up in a very stressful home environment, they cannot easily run away physically. They are trapped with angry parents or with constant cold emotional abuse. To survive this terrible daily reality, their brain creates a clever shield. It disconnects from the physical body. It is like your soul leaves and floats up to the ceiling. You can see your physical body, but you cannot feel the blows. You hear the loud, angry voices, but they sound very far away. This is a brilliant survival trick created by a young, helpless mind. But when you finally grow up, this system does not turn off. When you face big stress today, your brain goes back to dissociation. Suddenly, you feel totally numb inside. You look at your own hands, but they do not feel real. The world looks like a movie playing behind a thick sheet of glass. This numbness is actually very terrifying. It feels like you are dying or disappearing from the real world. At this exact dark, painful moment, you desperately need a strong anchor. You need something to pull you back to the physical reality right now. So you hit your own face. The sharp pain shocks your nervous system. The stinging feeling on your skin tells you that you are alive. It brings your mind right back to your physical body right now. You feel the pain and say, I am still here in this room. I have not disappeared into the dark. So this is not a random impulse. It is a desperate attempt to feel. When everything else has gone numb, it is the brain trying to find a solid floor to stand on. If you have felt this way, please know, you are not crazy. You are just trying to survive, using a very old childhood habit. It is time to let go of the heavy shame you carry. Your brain did what it could to keep you alive back then, but now we can find new and much safer ways to cope. Many people will tell you that you have an impulsive personality type. They say you lack self-control and need to learn better discipline. This is a very cold judgment that completely ignores your personal history. You do not lack discipline at all. In fact, you probably hold back more than the average human being. You hold back your tears daily. You hold back your honest words. You hold back your deep anger. You are like a giant balloon that has been filled with air for 10 very long painful years. When the balloon finally pops open, it is not because of impulsivity, it is because the pressure inside the balloon was simply too high to hold. So let us stop blaming yourself for reaching your absolute breaking point. Now, let us think about the people who stand around you during a breakdown. If someone you love hits themselves suddenly, your immediate reaction might be to panic. You might try to grab their hands or tell them to stop doing it. You might say you are overreacting or ask them why they are crazy. But this response only makes things worse. It tells them that their massive pain is not allowed to exist in public. It forces them to hide even deeper until they are completely alone in the dark. Instead of trying to stop the behavior, you should try to connect with them. First, you must acknowledge their deep pain by saying, I see how hurt you are. Do not try to give logical advice because their rational mind cannot hear you. Second, you should just sit with them and let them feel your warm presence. You can say, I am right here, and we can wait this out together. Third, you must help them find support without making them feel any deep shame. This is how we show real love to someone who is completely broken down. So how do we begin to heal and find a better way forward? We do not need to change overnight. Instead, we can practice small simple steps to protect our highly sensitive minds. The first tool is called the ICE method. This is a very powerful physical tool from a therapy called dialectical behavior therapy. When you feel the urge to hit yourself, do not try to argue with your brain. Your rational brain is already completely offline. Instead, go to your kitchen very quickly and take out 2 cold ice cubes. Hold them tightly in your bare hands, or press them gently against your cheeks. The intense cold will shock your body, without causing any real damage or wounds. It sends the same strong physical signal to quiet the loud emotional alarm. Your brain will look at the cold and forget the heavy mental pain. This is a very safe physical bridge to help you cross the dark storm. The second tool is a simple exercise called the 5-step grounding technique. When you feel like you are disappearing, look around the quiet room you are in. Name 5 things you can see clearly. Touch 4 things you can feel physically. Listen for 3 things you can hear. Smell 2 things near your nose. Taste 1 thing in your mouth. This forces your senses to wake up and pulls you back to the present. It helps to cure the painful dissociation without needing to hurt your own body. The third tool is the 3-second pause. Before you say yes to someone else, take 3 slow breaths into your stomach. Ask yourself if you have the energy. If your inner battery is too low, you must practice saying a kind no. You can say, I cannot do this, because I need to rest today. Stop handing your keys to other people. Lock your door, and guard your peace. These exercises may feel very simple indeed, but they can save your life. They give you a small safe space to choose a different path of healing. You do not have to carry everything on your own tired shoulders anymore. The brain cannot focus on 2 things at the exact same quiet moment. When the cold ice hits your skin, your nervous system shifts its complete focus. It moves from the heavy emotional threat to the physical sensation of extreme cold. This is called a biological reset button. It is like unplugging a frozen computer and turning it back on again. You will feel your breathing slow down, and your heart rate will drop. You will feel your muscles relax slowly as the ice begins to melt away. Also, you can change your daily words. Many sensitive people apologize way too much. They say I am so sorry constantly, even when they did nothing wrong. This reinforces the feeling of deep shame inside your own quiet subconscious mind. Try to change your words from now on. Instead of saying I am so sorry, you can say thank you for waiting. Instead of saying sorry for my feelings, say thank you for listening to me. This small change shifts the power balance. It turns shame into a positive connection. It shows that you value your worth and respect your own emotional limits. If you take only one thing today, please remember this very important truth. A person who hits their own face is usually the last person in the world who would ever want to hurt someone else. You are not a failed human being, nor are you a dramatic attention seeker. You are simply a tired soul who did not get caught when you fell. That painful blow was your body saying, I cannot carry this heavy load anymore. Please leave a comment below this video. I allow myself to be imperfect today. This is not just a simple comment, but a gentle promise to your heart. Please share this message with a friend who always puts their own needs last. You both deserve to be held gently. We can learn to put down the heavy stones and treat our bodies with soft kindness. Let us walk this healing path together. Thank you for listening to my voice.